New England's favorite bowling show. From Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. Featuring the best bowlers from around the region. Candlepin Stars and Strikes. And now your hosts, Dick Lutz and Mike Moore.
Hello again, everybody, and welcome into another edition of Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS TV. From Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire, Dick Lutz with Mike Moore, and it's week 3 of our 5th ladder series of the season, and we've had a couple of 400 triples to get us started.
Ed Woodside with 412, Shawn Baker last week with 411. So who's going to get the 400 this week? Perhaps both bowlers. But we've got Anthony Pastore, his 3rd appearance on WNDS, hoping that number 3 is the charm.
First week it was Ed Woodside's 412 over Mike Morgan's 373. Last week it was Shawn Baker 411 to Woodside's 396. We've seen some great bowling. We expect to see more of the same this afternoon. Let's meet our two bowlers first. Last week's winner, our number 3 seed from Lynn, Massachusetts. Let's welcome Shawn Baker.
Shawn Baker averaging 130, high single 213, his high triple is 484, bowling at Lucky Strike Lanes in Lynn, also a member of the Friday Night Pro Traveling League.
Shawn rolled a 666 in the roll-off to earn the number 3 seed, a 411 triple in his win over Ed Woodside last week. His opponent, the number 2 seed, Nashua's own Anthony Pastore.
A lot of fans here at Leda Lanes where he does his home bowling. 120 average, 180 high single, his high triple is 480, and he bowls not only here but at Natick as well.
Anthony had a 676 in the roll-off to earn the number 2 seed. Anthony Pastore and Shawn Baker. Let's get right to it. We're coming back with this afternoon's match right after this on WNDS TV's Candlepin Stars and Strikes. We started this ladder series with 5 of the finest Candlepin bowlers in the world, and we're down to a couple. And actually, Shawn Baker is the number 3 seed. Anthony Pastore, number 2. Gary Carrington waiting in the wings, the top seed, to face the winner of this match next week for the championship of the ladder series. So Shawn Baker will be first to bowl here this afternoon at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire, as we welcome you back to Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS TV. Shawn on lane 34 taking on Anthony Pastore from right here at Leda Lanes in Nashua, his home lanes.
A lot of friends and family members are here to encourage Shawn to do well, as well as Anthony Pastore. You're a local guy. Both gentlemen have lots of supporters here.
Shawn, 28 years old. Married to Kerry. They were married in September of 2000, almost 4 years ago. Sneaking up on 4 years, how time flies.
Remember when he was still a single man?
Remember that?
We're talking about him being engaged.
Yep.
Time is flying by very quickly. You and I both having had birthdays in the last couple days.
He's been bowling for 22 of his 28 years.
Had a pretty good week last time around. 145, 140, and 126. Good for a 411 victory over Ed Woodside.
Pair of 9s for Shawn Baker. Shawn, 28 years old, and Anthony Pastore, 6 years his junior, 22 years old.
Just had a birthday last month.
A junior at Curry College in Milton, Massachusetts. 676 in the roll-off. Good for the number 2 seed. Tried to play the wood on the left side. That was the only option to make the shot. And he'll take a 9 box to start out. With the second ball, he went for it and wasn't able to convert. We've been talking the last couple of weeks. We've had several inquiries about the whereabouts of one of our most devoted followers of Candlepin bowling. She's been in attendance ever since Mike and I have been doing the show. She's missed the last couple of tapings. Irene McGowan Linfield. And Mary Schiavelli of Everett wrote us a note asking about the whereabouts of Irene. And we're assured that her health is good, and it's been a transportation issue that's been keeping her away, and we hope to see her back next month at our future tapings and in future months.
We should mention, Dick, when the next taping session is, because it's coming up on Tuesday, March the 3rd. Now, if you're watching this in rerun, then of course you missed it, but Tuesday, March 2nd. March 2nd be our next taping date, beginning at 10 a.m.
March 3.
Actually, it's March 2nd because of leap year. The days are...
oh, this is leap year. That's right,
yeah.
too. Son of a gun.
Today's leap year day. Today's February 29th.
Forgot all about it. I forgot that today was the 29th.
That's
We're watching the show on the 29th.
Steve Vadney, one of our favorite bowlers, has a daughter celebrating a birthday today. I do remember that. Having that conversation with him. So is anybody going to get a mark today? Last couple of weeks, we've had incredible starts by our bowlers, including a 6-mark start by Ed Woodside 2 weeks ago.
Then last week, he and Shawn both with 5 marks in the first 6 boxes of the first string. They were red hot. Shawn off the head pin, but an 8-pin fall. I remember growing up in Worcester. Did I ever tell you I was from Worcester? I don't remember ever.
I think you have, actually, but thanks for bringing it up again.
I had a friend who was a leap year baby.
Yeah.
And so I was February 26th, and he was February 29th. And I used to have a birthday every year, and he didn't.
They're very special people, though, aren't they, leap babies? They actually have cruises and all kinds of activities for leap babies. There's an organization, national organization, where people that are leap babies partake in certain things.
Let's throw this out there just for the heck of it and see what happens, because I remember who it was, and I remember Bobby Lubowitz. Where are you now?
Well, he was...
Oh, look at that shot by Anthony Pastore.
If he's your age, he'd be about 13, 14 years old.
Right. Watch it again.
Wow.
A backdoor spare. He threw it away, but he got a 6-pin drop.
Got the crowd buzzing a little bit more now that we have our first mark on the board.
Yeah, this would be his 14th birthday. 14, yeah. Right? Sure.
56.
Yep. And a 9 box for Anthony. An early 7-pin lead for Anthony Pastore over Shawn Baker.
There's actually a twins that I heard of, Dick, that one was born on February 29th and the other was born on March 1st.
That's sure.
So when think about it, one would have a birthday every year and the other would have one only every 4 years. How weird is that? There's actually a great website, and I wish I'd have thought to write it down for you folks today. But if you're on a search engine check, there's a number of really good leap year sites.
May I ask why you've been checking those leap year sites out?
Well, I do a little morning radio program.
Oh, you do?
That requires lots of research for different topics, and that's one of them. Did I mention I do the morning show at WZID 95.7?
No, you didn't.
Well, we need to let people know that.
Something like New Hampshire in the morning, is that
exactly?
What you call it?
You have heard of it.
Here's Shawn with a great pocket shot right there, looking for his first mark of the first string. One of your loyal listeners came up to you here at the taping today.
She did. Love meeting him wherever we are. And the funny thing is, they were asking if you were Nancy Robbins, my partner.
Shawn had a... Oh, look at that shot. Well, Shawn and Anthony now, both with very unlikely spares. Watch it again. They never thought it came out of the gutter. It wasn't even the wood that he hit. It was the wood that went into the gutter across the side and tripped the piece of wood out of the gutter and sent it back the other way. What a spare. Spread eagle for Anthony. Right through the middle. Actually, he hit the 3-pin, but it's not going to fall. It's wobbling. It just nudged it. but not enough to knock it down. And that's going to be a 7-box for Anthony. And now he's up against the spare.
And he's still ahead in completed boxes by just 5 pins. But it'll be up against the Shawn Baker spare in the 6th frame. Pretty makeable spare, the 3-5-6.
We've talked about some of the terminology in bowling over the years and how some of the spares get names. We've got a couple of emails regarding that. And Pete Soderholm from Tewksbury writes in, the 1-7-10 high-low jack, is that from the movie One-Eyed Jacks? Mike, I put that one to you. You're bowling historian, you?
I don't think so. Candlepin bowling, as I think a lot of folks know, is a very regional game, and I don't know where Candlepin bowling has ever showed up in a movie with wide distribution. Do you?
Nope.
If anybody knows of any movie, not just regional, but a national movie that has Candlepin bowling in it, let us know.
We ought to get Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, they're local guys, to do a Candlepin bowling movie or something like that.
Yeah, Ben's got a little more time on his hands now.
Yeah, he's got a lot of free time.
He and J-Lo have split.
Oh, look at that. Now that's one that Shawn thought he was going to make, and he didn't make.
Director Kevin LaFond is on the phone as we speak, looking for J-Lo's phone number.
Well, maybe she'll be attending your next singles dance, and Kevin might be able to hook up with her there.
Kevin's been very successful at those. Puts on all that English leather cologne. You can't miss him when he walks in the room.
Nice shot by Shawn. Reminds me of the commercial on TV, Mr. Cologne Man. You've seen it, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, to tell you the truth, I lived in New Jersey for a while, in the town where they make English leather, in Northvale, New Jersey.
Oh, look at that shot by Anthony. The 1 and the 8 pin go. Actually, he hits the head pin, just takes the 8 pin behind it, and that's it.
When the wind would blow in a certain direction, the whole town smelled like aftershave. I thought, oh, does Kevin LaFond live here?
And one more. Tough box for Anthony. That's a 7 pin. That's a pretty good 7 box for Anthony. He'll take it.
And he's still only 7 pins behind through completed boxes.
Up against the spare in the 8th frame.
Talking about terminology, got a great letter we did.
Nice shot by Anthony. The strike goes up against Shawn Baker's spare. Watch it again. A little bit to the Brooklyn side, but no doubt about the strike.
Dick, just so that our heads don't get too big or too swollen, this letter came attention of Dick Litzk and Dick Moran.
Oh, close.
Yeah, close. Yeah, I got most of the letters right. Anyway, thank you very much, Betty from Lexington, giving us a great history on the definition kingpin, not as it related so much to bowling, but in other references. So we thank you for that information. Too lengthy to go into right now.
A couple of them are pretty good. You can mention a couple of them that are pretty fascinating.
Of course, one of them has to do with organized crime.
The kingpin.
Exactly. And then one had to do with the construction. The kingpin was the main support, bolt, etc., of the building structure. Also, the head of a company or corporation was the kingpin. She said, we should be considered the kingpins of Stars and Strikes. So there you go. Beverly, thank you for that information. Mr. Litzk and Mr. Moran, thank you.
Nice shot by Shawn. Well done. Took advantage of the wood that was there and converted the spare. He's at 106 plus a ball. Well, he came on after a 45 half, and he'll have a respectable first string. That's a good first ball right there. They surround the 7 pin, and the 7 pin still stands. 113 for Shawn Baker in the first string. Check it, 115.
So
115 in the first string.
Great chance for Anthony now.
Anthony's working on a strike.
Well, he's had a lot of split stick on lane 34 today.
This is the 2, 4, 7 on the left, the 10-pin on the right. Some wood behind the three-pin cluster on the left. Couldn't help him. He's got the spare.
He was a bit unbalanced at the line when he finished up there, but he didn't go over the foul line and made the shot.
Watch it again. I don't think he needed the wood. He didn't. He just kicked that.
You're right.
2-pin right over to the 10. That's not a good first ball for Anthony. He's going to only put 4 in the spare.
Needs a mark now to win this game. Which, with a better fill, he could have done it even without a spare.
Threw a good ball there, but not converting. So he's at 109. A 110 first string for Anthony Pastore. A 5-pin lead for Shawn Baker over Anthony Pastore. After 1, we're coming right back to Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire for Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS TV. Anthony Pastore will start us off in string number 2 at Leda Lanes in Nashua. Dick Lutz with Mike Morin. A 5-pin lead for Shawn Baker over Anthony Pastore after 1. Kevin LaFon's our director today. Alex Kaldistoff's on audio. Keith Webb's our engineer. Jonathan Barraza handling replay. Sean Homan, Eric Angra, and Brett Fossey. The camera crew making it possible for you to watch the finest Candlepin bowlers in the world every week on Candlepin Stars and Strikes.
These, of course, a couple of very young bowlers, but those who are over 50 have their own. The strike for Anthony. Spare strike to start. Take another look here.
Well, he had the 410 for a while, but finally they kicked out.
Mentioning the younger bowlers who you're watching today, gentlemen who you've seen many, many times in past years.
Look at Shawn Baker respond.
They keep throwing strikes. I'll never get to finish this. The Senior Professional Candlepin Tour was in Woburn back in January, and Steve Vadney won that tournament. Congratulations. Steve has been very successful since joining the Pro Senior Tour here since turning 50 pretty recently. Phil Clough was second, Hawk Hallis third. Let's see, Reggie DeLine down there in fifth, and a few other names and many others I'm sure you would know. Congratulations to Steve Vadney.
Look at that spare for Shawn. He had the half Worcester and converted it, played it perfectly to the outside of the head pin. Watch it again, right to the outside of the head pin, to the 3-pin side, the open side, and wiped him out for the mark inside the spare. And now Anthony working on a strike. He'll get another shot at it because his first ball wasn't so hot. So Anthony working on a strike. He'll put 7 in the strike. And he'll take a 9 box. Anthony came through the junior program here at Leda Lanes. He's a collector of baseball cards in his spare time, of which he says he does not have much.
College student. Junior, as you mentioned, at Curry College, wants to be a broadcaster.
And a 9 box. He's at 55 through 4. There's Shawn Baker. One of Shawn's aunts is here, talking to her between the game for the taping. She's very proud of her nephew.
So there's a good fill, leaving the 2-pin with no wood in front. Needs to hit the pin with the ball directly. No wood to help.
Got it. Right on, 3 marks in a row. That's a $50 shot for Shawn Baker. We give $50 for 3 marks in a row and then $25 for each additional.
$50 for the high string of the day, and our runner-up today gets $550. The winner goes on to bowl Gary Carrington for a right to get into the Tournament of Champions.
Shawn with a good pocket shot there, but look what he has to show for it. Oh, 5-10. What a piece of wood. Oh. The wood is angled perfectly. The key here is hitting the 5-pin. A little room for error to the right side of the pin. Got a shot at it, got the shot. 4 marks in a row for Shawn, starting out the second string. We're going to break, and we're coming right back to Leda Lanes in Nashua. We continue with Candlepin Stars and Strikes. You are watching WNDS-TV. Anthony Pastore set to go on lane 34 at Leda Lanes in Nashua. He's up against 4 marks in a row put on the board by Shawn Baker to start the second string. Anthony needs to put a few together himself, and that's a pretty good first ball.
Talking to old friend Paul Ouellette, who's our scorekeeper. Off camera, you can't see him. He also chases the wood when it comes out of play. Keeps score. It hasn't been for a number of years now for the people here in the bowling lanes. They can't see the monitors too well.
That's a mark for Anthony Pastore in box number 5.
Nice break there.
Missed the head pin, and look what he has. Sometimes things just go your way. Sometimes you can hit the head pin and get nothing. Sometimes you miss the head pin and you get a break. Anthony with the spare. So a good couple of boxes for Anthony Pastore, a couple of marks. Now Shawn Baker with 4 marks in a row. Shawn with 5 marks in a row. Would you say he's on fire? To the Brooklyn side. The 7-pin just had to surrender there at the end. Another good first ball. A little bit thin, but on the head pin.
4, 7, and 8. Doesn't make any sense to use the wood here, I don't think.
Nope.
Go right for the 4-pin.
I think the wood helps him, though. It gives him a little room for error. Well, on the other side, it would have helped him.
But a 96 half. We've seen some very high first halves the last several weeks.
And a 9 box.
Got an email, Dick, from Bud Jacklin correcting me on some information I apparently gave out earlier in the year.
You made a mistake?
Hard to believe.
Not allowed.
I'd like to help Mike correct a mistake that he made in the first ladder back, I guess this would have been in October.
Wow, Anthony scattered them all except for the 10-pin.
Steve Platt of Manchester was not a participant in the 1996 Tournament of Champions. Also, the 96 Tournament of Champions did air. Apparently, I indicated otherwise. The participants were the following bowlers. Listen to these: Bob Kelly, Joe Ashline, Tim Lipke, Rich Clark, Don Richmond, and Dan Broder. Dan Murphy handled the hosting duties by himself, as it was the first Tournament of Champions that Paul Berger was not a participant. The eventual winner of the 96 Tournament of Champions was Bob Kelly. There was no 97 Tournament of Champions, which is true, because we took over in the fall of 97 after the show had been off for a while. So there you go. Bud Jacklin, thank you for correcting that bit of misinformation that I apparently gave out back in October.
I'm making a note right here that will go in your permanent file. That's a 9 box for Anthony as his streak of marks ends at 3. He's at 117 through 8. Shawn Baker started the string with 5 marks in a row and then was open in the 6th frame. Missed the head pin there. He's got the 4 horsemen on the left side with the 8 and the 5 pin there with a piece of wood that helps him out a little bit. The 5 pin still stands. The wood was not between the 1 and the 5. It was behind the 5. And that'll be a 10 box.
Still a very close match, despite the fact that Shawn Baker had a 96 first half.
Right through the middle. Spread eagle +1. We love to hear from you. Our email address, bowling@WNDS.com. Wherever you may be watching Candlepin Stars and Strikes, we would love to hear from you. And if you'd like to drop a note in the mail to us, it's WNDS TV 50, Television Place, Derry, New Hampshire, 03038.
Dick, we got another email, this one from Anthony Karen of Groton. We answered a question, well, we'll pick up in a minute.
Anthony buries the strike in the 9th frame. Watch it again. Looks like the 7-pin's a little bit reluctant, but it gets tripped out at the end. Anthony right on the head pin again. Can he break up the split? No. This is a tough shot. This is...
what do you do? Do you cap perhaps the one pin that's sticking out closest to you? The one on the left?
The 6-7, I think. So he's trying to do, trying to bounce it off the back wall, not going to make the shot. So he'll be open in the 10th. He's at 145 right now. And that's what it'll be, a 145 second string for Anthony Pastore. Shawn will need a mark to win the string.
Working on a corrected score here, folks, so don't get excited.
Talk amongst yourselves for a few seconds here. Shawn right through the middle, spread eagle. Just picks one off the left side. We're going to have a tight match here going to the 3rd string. $7 for Shawn. He's at 130.
When we come back, I want to talk to you about the kind of money that we discussed that bowlers can make these days, which is not a whole lot, but tell you about a man who over the course of 23 weeks made over $35,000 on the old Channel 5 show. Tell you about that when we come back in a couple of minutes after the break.
Right on the head pin. Broke up the spread eagle, but still a tough shot. Just the 2-pin on the left side, but the 3-6-10 on the right. We could be dead even going to the 2nd string. Right through the middle.
Although probably not now.
Nope, not now. Anthony's going to have a lead of a pin or 2 or 3. And it will be a 9 and a 139 for Shawn Baker. In the 2nd string, it's a 1-pin lead for Anthony Pastore over Shawn Baker after 2. String number 3 coming up when we come back to Leda Lanes in Nashua for Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS TV. Shawn Baker will lead us off in string number 3 at Leda Lanes in Nashua. He trails Anthony Pastore 255 to 254. 1-pin lead for Pastore after 2. Doesn't get much closer than that. Shawn right on the head pin, tries to break up the split, but he's got the goalpost staring right back at him, the 7 and the 10. Can he slide that piece of wood from the left to the right? That's what he's going to try to do. Oh, he almost did. That was exciting for a second. It looked like it might take it.
In 1993 and into 1994, Dick, Tom Olsta, the old Channel 5 bowling show, bowled 23 consecutive weeks because you're staying on until you lost, made $35,825.
Wow.
That information from Anthony Karen, who ran down the list of his victims along the way, which included Mike Morgan, Charlie Jutras, Jim Putney, Gary Carrington. Who else here? Reggie DeLine. Boy, I tell you, the who's who of bowling. Peter Flynn. Wow. Peter Surratt. of the Surratt family. Finally, Mel Honorano defeated Tommy Olst 372 to 353, ending a 23-week run and a total of over $35,000. Wow. These days, the format is structured to give more bowlers an opportunity, so the money for any one bowler can never get more than maybe $3,000 on our show for the course of the year, and then you can make $10,000 on the Easter Sunday, or $5,000 on the Easter show. Did I say Mal? Fran Honorano. Thank you. Sorry about that.
So Anthony with a 9 box. Now he's up against a mark from Shawn. It becomes a game of matching right now. It's so close going down the stretch in the third string. Just one pin separating the bowlers after 2. When one bowler marks, the other one has to, just like that. Becomes a game of one-upsmanship. Thin hit, boy, when you look at the replay, you say, that's not going to be a strike. And they just keep on falling. There they go.
One of these bowlers will face Gary Carrington next week to see who will be the 5th bowler out of 6 needed for the Tournament of Champions, which gets underway in April.
Shawn, another shot right at the head pin, straight on, breaks up the spread eagle. 247 on the left piece of wood is definitely a factor. Not sure how he's going to try to do this. Play the pin on the right? No. And a 9 box. Pinning becomes important here too in a close match. You heard the crowd.
Or Paul Willett.
Correct Paul Willett, who made a mistake on the scoreboard. It's a very unforgiving crowd, Paul.
Boy, that's for sure. As we find out.
And if you ever want to find out if anybody's watching what you do, and Shawn Baker buries a strike.
We need to put this crowd into in charge of the Homeland Security Department.
If Paul had ever been wondering if anybody was ever watching his work, he just found out.
But I've never heard him be so hostile toward him before. This week they've been brutal.
Anthony off the head pin. Still working on a strike, though, so another ball to fill the strike. Paul can go months without anybody ever commenting on his work, and then make one mistake and they're all over you like a cheap suit.
He almost never makes any mistakes. In fact, I rely on him to double check what we're doing on the computer here.
10 box for Anthony. Up against a Shawn Baker strike in the 4th frame. Threw a good ball and did not get rewarded for it. The 2 and the 4 on the left, the 6 and the 10 on the right, no wood to help out.
And he may fall behind if he doesn't make this.
Not going to make it, so he will fall behind. That's a 9 box for Anthony. Shawn Baker works on a strike when we come back to Toledo Lanes in Nashua for Candlepin Stars and Strikes as you watch WNDS TV. Shawn Baker set to go. He's working on a strike in the 4th frame, looking to take the lead in the match. He is down by 3 pins in the match, but he can overcome that with these 2 balls. He does. The lead belongs to Shawn Baker. By how much remains to be seen if he converts a spare here. He will not convert the spare, so the lead will be 6.
He has 3 WCBC titles through the 02-03 season, and last year he was number 5 of all bowlers, the World Candlepin Bowlers Congress, so he's done well. He also had high average for all bowlers at the World Tournament back last fall with 128. I'm sorry, for 2002. Not sure about this year, but a high average a year ago at 128 for all the bowlers in Canada for the World Tournament.
Shawn right in the pocket, tries to break up the split. He wants that 7-pin to go. He's trying to wave it down, but it's not listening.
I think Chris Sargent was the high average for the 2003 Bowling World Tournament in November. Don't have that in front of me, but something tells me he was. That was a shot.
Nice shot by Shawn for the spare. In the 6th frame, the mark for Shawn. The lead to Shawn. And the pressure on Anthony Pastore now. Got a note from old friend Tim Lipke, who now operates Lakeside Lanes in Manchester. We promote the event, the 22nd annual Schaefer Mortgage Elimination Doubles Tournament. It's the longest running doubles tournament held at Lakeside Lanes June 5th and 6th. Information can be downloaded on Lakeside's website, which is www.lakesidelane.com. Tim Lipke runs a very nice bowling alley at Lakeside Lanes in Manchester. We wish him the best.
We last saw Anthony Pastore. He was the #1 seed, losing to Rich Lottie 402 to 368 back in December. Was top seed in his only 2 WNDS appearances. Today he's #2 and not a top seed. Hoping that maybe shakes things up a little bit.
Well, Anthony's up against the spare right here, and he's got a tough shot to make. He's got a shot at it. He hit the head pin too full. So that will allow Shawn Baker to pad his lead a little bit. He'll be leading by more than a mark when he comes to the line. That would be an 8-box for Anthony. So Shawn's lead is 8 pins plus whatever he gets on this ball to fill his spare in the 6th frame. A chance for Shawn Baker to really put some distance between himself and Anthony Pastore. Well, he threw a ball in the pocket, didn't get a lot to show for it. Will that pin fall? That's the 4-pin. It's waving. Look at Shawn. Shawn's doing a little bit of a twist. Chubby Checker would have been proud.
Still wiggling, Dick, but not on the verge of going down.
So the lead is 13 for Shawn. And he'll be open in the 7th frame. $10 for Shawn. Sometimes we get questions that you just they surprise you because you just don't know where they come from. But when we had our mixed doubles competition a few weeks ago, one of the participants was Cindy Cawley. And one of the viewers, Stan Rickman, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly, Stan, says we spelled her name 2 different ways. Which is the correct way? Is it C-Y-N-D-Y or C-Y-N-D-I?
C-Y-N-D-Y, as I recall.
Well, there's your answer, Stan.
Thanks for asking.
Shawn open in the 8th frame.
I'm sure we'll hear from Cindy if my response was incorrect. As hard as we try sometimes through the filtering process, we get a name misspelled, and we feel badly about that.
Anthony with a tough shot here. This is the 2-7. No wood to help out. Right between, right through the wickets.
Great opportunity to pick up some ground because Shawn has gone now 2 boxes without a mark.
And right through the wickets again, an 8-box. That hurts. He needs a mark right here badly. So Anthony Pastore up against an open frame really must mark here. Threw it right at the head pin, and look what he has. He has the 3-6-10 on the right, the 7 on the left. The piece of wood angled in front of the 3-pin could help him out. Not going to make the shot.
Looked good, didn't it?
Yep. So he's open for the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th box in a row. Only 1 mark in the string for Anthony. And that'll be a 10 box. With 2 boxes remaining, it's a 15-pin lead for Shawn Baker.
High string of the day so far belongs to
Anthony with a 145.
That's right. $550 will go to the runner-up. The winner has a shot at $1,500 first prize next week, 1,000 runner-up, and a shot to the Tournament of Champions.
Shawn missed the head pin, but pretty good action.
Leaving the door open for Anthony, isn't he?
Now he's got a makeable shot here. The wood helps him out a lot.
Yeah, it does.
The 1, the 8, and the 10. A couple of pieces of wood, although one piece of wood is rolling a little farther away. There it is. That should just about do it.
You want a good fill, at least a 10 box, to really make Anthony have to put some strikes together to have any chance at all.
Now there's a pretty good fill right there. He threw a pretty good ball, didn't he? That's the 5th mark of the string for Shawn, as he just about has put an end to it. That one's going to be off the head pin, but he's got another ball to fill the strike. 34. And almost a $50 shot. That cost him 50 bucks, that pin, but a 9-pin fill in the strike and a 138 third string and a 3-string total of 392 for Shawn Baker. And that just about does it. Anthony needed a triple strike, or a double strike at least, to have a shot at it, and he's not going to get it. So Anthony will be open again for the 7th consecutive box. Just 1 mark in the 3rd string for Anthony. And a 10 box. So it will be Shawn Baker against Gary Carrington next week in the championship match of the ladder series, with the winner advancing to the Tournament of Champions. We've seen some great bowling, haven't we? 400 the first couple of weeks, and 392 to win this week. Just doesn't get much better than that. So Anthony will finish. He is at 102 right now. And that's where it will finish for Anthony Pastore, a 102 third string, a 3-string total of 357. And Shawn Baker advances with a 392 to 357 win over Anthony Pastore. We're back to meet our bowlers when we return to Leda Lanes for Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS TV. Shawn Baker defeats Anthony Pastore. The final score was 392 to 357. Anthony's with us. We'll give him the consolation check. That's $550. Some bonus money as well for Anthony of $100. $50 for having the high string in the match, and $50 for having 3 marks in a row. Up against a buzzsaw. When Shawn's on fire, he's tough to beat.
He is. That he is. He's a very good bowler and did well today.
You are home to Leda Lanes. There's 36 lanes here. I suppose you've bowled on all of them at one point or another. Do you have favorites? When you bowl in a house like this, do some lanes respond better than others?
Yes, they do. Some sides, too. The other side, I think, is a little bit better than this side. But this side's a little tougher.
What do you do when you know that you have a better luck on one side, but that's not the side you're bowling on? Is there a way to compensate?
You just try to throw your ball out there and have fun, and try not to throw too many splits.
Well, yeah, this is your home bowling center. You do very well in the roll-offs to get in. You've been on 3 times, never lower than 2nd seed. So I'm wondering, are you going to shake things up and go for 5th seed next time?
try to win a couple
I hope so. Win a couple matches or something.
Well, you've got one more ladder that starts in 2 weeks, so good luck getting back.
I'll be trying to get on again.
Anthony's a junior at Curry College in Milton. The football coach, Steve Nelson, the former Patriot. Lots of rumors about him going somewhere else. You think he'll be headed in a different direction?
I think he will be headed in a different direction. He's done well at Curry, went 15-0 this season, so doing well. So I think he'll go somewhere else.
Not too shabby. He was a great player, too. Anthony, thanks very much. Congratulations to Anthony Pastore, our runner-up this afternoon. And now Shawn Baker will try to win some money for a contestant at home. We've had a couple of winners the last couple of weeks. We gave away $70 2 weeks ago, $10 last week. We're recycled to $10 again this week. And this is Mrs. Flora Evans from Derry, New Hampshire. And Shawn, she wants you to get a 7.
Like last week.
Just like last week. Let's see if we can get a 7 for $10 or a consolation prize from N&R Trophies in Winchton, Massachusetts. Shawn gets booed for a strike.
Wow.
What a hostile crowd.
Tough crowd, huh?
It was like 7 for a while, then they all came together.
That's a tough group.
Did you hear him getting all over the scorekeeper, Paul, when he made a mistake?
Oh yeah, I couldn't help it.
Those are your people, doing that shout.
Well, again, another run of marks and a big string, and it seems to do the job for you.
Well, sometimes, sometimes that can be enough. A close match, you get a nice little run like that. Sometimes that can put you over the top.
In the third string, it was 1 pin difference when you come into the third string, and it kind of becomes a game of matching the other guy, who's going to break out first. What sort of thoughts do you have about trying to get the momentum to win the match?
Well, where I'm up first, I'm just trying to put something up there where he has to, try and match or vice versa. And like Eddie said last week, there's no defense in this game, so you just got to try and, get as much as you can and hope it's enough.
There's really nothing you can do about the other guy.
No.
It's all you, and what he does, he does.
Yeah, until it becomes a contact sport. But then again,
you want to go out there and wrestle him, wrestle him down.
I'm a little thin over here. I don't need that contact.
Well, a very familiar face, Gary Carrington, next week. So I need to know whose crowd is rowdier, yours or his?
I think it's going to be a good match. I think they're ready for both. So
that'll be great. We'll see you next week. Shawn Baker, our winner this week. It sets up a great match next week.
It does. Gary Carrington was here a couple of weeks ago. Didn't do so well, but he's back as a #1 seed next week.
Shawn also won $100 in bonus money this afternoon. Didn't mention that, but I'm sure he'll remember after the match.
Sure.
So we'll see you next week. From Mike Morin and our entire crew, I'm Dick Lutz. Thanks for watching Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS TV. And remember, get your gang together and let's go bowling, everybody. See you next time.